Hello, hello. Welcome back to my channel, everyone. So today I'm gonna talk about being socially awkward because I myself am a socially awkward fuck. And yeah, it's very shit to be socially awkward. I think being socially awkward can keep you from forming basic human connections, and it can have you missing out on very fun things you could be doing. You know, I don't know how or where, if I could point out the point where I became socially awkward, to be honest with you. But ever since I was a kid, I've always been a shy kid, meaning I didn't really interact with a lot of people. I've never been around crowds. I've most of the time been by myself. I don't know if it started that way, but I think I could really pinpoint the points or specific times in time where I became a very shy person. I think ever since I was young, whenever I tried doing something, I would always be like reprimanded for it or like ridiculed for something. Like whenever you put yourself out there, and people just shut you down. And I think there's a point in when I was younger where I remember trying to play with a bunch of kids I didn't really know. So I went up to them. I was like, "Yeah, guys, can I play with you?" We're basically like, "Yeah, man, we're not gonna play with someone who has big fingers." And yeah, I think that happened like 15 years ago. And right now I'm 20. So the fact that I remember that memory exactly, it's crazy. But yeah, for the most part, I've always been a socially awkward person. I've never really had a lot of friends. I've wanted to become friends with people, but I just didn't really know how to go about it. I think that's where being socially awkward and having social anxiety just came in together. So, yeah, I've basically been trying to kind of combat my social anxiety, putting myself out there, but not really physically, but yeah, online. And the fact that I'm socially awkward even online, it's crazy to me, brother. And to be honest, it's very disheartening because to me, it kind of seems like the social anxiety and social awkwardness is something that's gonna stick with me for the rest of my life. And if that's so, I'm pretty much gonna live a very shitty life because I don't think people could survive without having friends. It's gonna create a dull life where you don't really wanna live. And yeah, brother, that's about it. I don't know if that's about it, but I just wanted to hop and talk about social awkwardness. But I think there are socially awkward. I think for the most part, socially awkward people don't have are not socially aware. I don't know if I'm mistaken, but yeah, I'm sure. I don't know, but I don't know to be honest with you. But when you know that you're socially awkward and you're going to a conversations, you can already feel the awkwardness coming. You don't know what to say. You're trying to say the right thing, and yeah, it just becomes a brain fog in your head, and you don't really know what to do, so you end up just freezing. Yeah, it's very hard. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. So yeah, today I was gonna talk about a very important topic, and that topic being social anxiety. I feel like I deal with a lot of social anxiety. I have a lot of social anxiety and anxiety in general. And I think the whole point of social anxiety is the fear of being judged or perceived a certain way. So people, you're you, so a person is very afraid to perform in front of people because of the failure, the possibility that they may fail and get made fun of for that. And I think it's the exact key for me because for longer than I can remember, I've always been teased by other kids. I've always been the one to be made fun of. I've always been the outsider, the reject of society. So whenever it comes to putting myself on the spot, I tend to get very anxious. For example, there was a time where we had to do class presentations at my school. And during that, I know people are afraid, but for me, it was the type of fear I felt like I should just go home and receive a bad grade for that. And it took about 40% of our grade. So I was pretty fucked if I did that. But I ended up going there and yes, I made a fool of myself. People laughed at me. And it was one of the worst days of my life. And social anxiety, I feel like I've been trying to find a way to cope with my social anxiety, find a way to eliminate my social anxiety, but it's not easy, especially when you've been judged for most of your life. And yeah, I think for most of my life, I've always been a people pleaser because I felt like I didn't provide anything, so I should just be nice to people and do what people want me to do so people would like me. So people pleasing and anxiety, yeah, they're very hard. And yeah, people usually give the same advice for social anxiety, saying you should try. And the more times you try, the less feel you will feel. But it's not like that. And I think also my social anxiety is visible in the way I carry myself at school and with people. Yeah, I feel like I almost every time or every day, any day on a week, I always expect rejection. So it leads me to people thinking I'm weird because of certain things. Like usually when I talk to girls at my school, I don't usually I don't initiate the conversations because I think that person would not be like to be seen with me. So it's very hard. So I usually wait for people to start conversation with me before I started. I don't know if that makes sense, but yeah, man. And also my English is not that good because English is not my first language and yeah, I think I started speaking English or practicing English for 2 years now. And yeah, I could see the improvement, but it's still hard on me. Yeah. So yeah, man. Right now, as I'm sitting and recording this session, I've been thinking about school a lot, and that makes me anxious a lot. It makes me anxious. I think it's for multiple reasons. The stress about the grades and the physical aspect of socializing with people. Yeah, I think that's one of the hardest things to ever be because I grew up being told I was ugly from a very young age. And I think that kind of contributed to my social anxiety. So whenever I walk past people and they look at me, I'm already thinking, yeah, they must think I'm ugly, they must be talking shit about me. And yeah, it's not a very healthy mindset to have, but I can't really do nothing about it. Like every time I tell myself I want to keep I want to keep a positive mindset, but yeah, man, it kind of backfires in my face. So yeah, I don't know how I'm gonna deal with social anxiety because people are gonna judge you anyway. If you are not a very good looking guy, people are gonna judge you anyway. So the fear of being judged while being judged is kind of irrational. I don't know. I don't know what the meaning of irrational is, but I think it's kind of irrational. And also, when I tell my parents about my social anxiety, they just keep telling me to be confident. And being confident is not something you can just do. You cannot wake up one day and just be confident. Wake up confident in a day. So yeah, man, I'm not a very confident guy. I'm not a very good looking guy. I don't really provide anything in life except I don't know. Oh, I'm just here. I think I'm an NPC. That's for sure. Yeah, I don't know what I'm gonna do going forward, but I think I'm gonna try to work on myself and really get rid of the fear of being judged. I don't know how I'm gonna do it, but it's something I have to do for my own happiness and everything else. Because yeah, I think I need to stop living for other people and just live for myself and find things that make me happy and that fulfill my soul. So yeah, that was a little rant, and please follow. Maybe you wanna hear more depressing stories and depressing tales about my life. Yeah.